Borno State over the years has been setting the pace when it comes to the creation of opportunities for women. Under the administration of Governor Babagana Zulum, women have remained in the spotlight with arrays of initiatives designed to improve the standard of living of vulnerable women and children, especially victims of insurgency. Welcome to Borno Restoration. I'm Jessie Tafida. But first, let's bring you up to speed with Borno Today. Vesicovaginal fistula is an opening that develops between the bladder and the wall of the vagina, resulting in the continuous involuntary discharge of urine. Statistics indicate that there are about 250,000 women awaiting VVF repairs in Nigeria, out of which only 3,000 are fortunate to be attended to annually. In the northeast region, cases of the VVF are on the rise due to the Boko Haram insurgency, which has restricted access to healthcare services. Now, the Northeast Development Commission is stepping up with a solution. In collaboration with the state government, it is assisting 100 obstetric fistula patients with free surgeries and medical services.
The plight of these unfortunate women who experience obstetric fistula, apart from being dejecting, is a very lonely one. It is therefore important that all efforts are made to bring succor to these women to enable them pick the pieces of their lives.
We have about 5,000 patients benefiting from private health services in Borno State, mainly from IDP camps. And I assure you that we are going to reflect this in other states.
The state government appreciates the gesture, which it believes will go a long way in putting smiles on the faces of the patients.
NEDC has done a lot in Borno State. I would like to thank the NEDC for coming to our rescue.
35-year-old Hadiza Alina rates how she was neglected by her family due to her ailment. She says, I've been living with this ailment for 25 years now. I was divorced by my husband and my family sent me out of the home. I've been living on the streets until this intervention, and I pray God to bless them abundantly. The patients also benefited from cash assistance courtesy of the Commission. Insecurity has been a major challenge facing residents of Borno State. Aside the Boko Haram insurgency, other criminal activities are being perpetrated across the state. Today, the Borno State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is parading 25 persons. This is the outcome of the ongoing patrol by the command. Among the suspects is a 20-year-old Muhammad Bukar who stole a military ID card and impersonated as a military officer. Other suspects were arrested for their alleged involvement in fraud, theft and in possession of hard drugs.
We owe the state government and indeed the citizenry of Borno State protection in all ramifications. My Commandant General is so circumspect, so passionate by the state of insecurity and lack of safety in Nigeria. Consequently, he directed that 1,800 men be deployed. I want to assure everybody within the state that within our professional limits and given our mandate, we'll do our best to secure the land.
Some of the suspects confessed to their crimes. He says, I found the ID card at the military barracks and was using it to earn respect from the people of my community. I regret my actions and promise not to engage in such acts anymore. Elsewhere, the 7th Division Nigerian Army has handed over 3 suspects who were caught dismantling a telecommunications mast at Pulka community of Maiduguri. The command assures that all the suspects will be prosecuted after preliminary investigations are completed. Borno State Police Command welcomes the wife of the IGP on her first official visit to Borno State. The purpose of her visit is simple. She is here to empower widows and wives of the police officers in Maiduguri to enable them be self-sufficient in catering the needs of their families. The wife of the IGP notes that police officers' wives need to be encouraged and supported, as a lot of them have lost their breadwinners while protecting the country against insurgency and other forms of criminal activities.
If your husband is in the office and you don't encourage him, there's no way a man will focus with what he's doing. If you are a police officer's wife, I want to tell you today that the new face of power has 3-point agenda, which is education, health, and welfare. Indiscipline is unacceptable to the power president.
Items presented include machines, generators, refrigerators, mattresses, and cartons of noodles. Beneficiaries expressed gratitude for the items they have received and promised to use the items for the purpose intended.
We sincerely want to appreciate our leader for the support she gave. This is the first of its kind, and we promise to use the items for the purpose intended. I'm very happy to be part of this empowerment today. I can now start up my own business, and it will no doubt assist me in catering the need of my family.
Awards of excellence are presented to CSP Hadiza Musa and Superintendent Mary Stephen for their earnest contribution towards the development of the Nigerian police force. Addressing the plight of vulnerable women and the girl child in Borno State has been central to the development agenda of Professor Babagana Zulum. In the last 2 years, women are being provided with enormous support, especially in areas of education, job creation, economic empowerment, and resettlement. Let's take this report. Women, most often the biggest losers in every conflict the world has ever seen. They pay the steep price in the violation of their bodies, the loss of their children, the death of their husbands, and the extreme deprivations that are often the outcome of crisis. In conservative societies, a woman's aspirations could be limited by the ceiling foisted on her in the name of religion and traditional beliefs. It is common to see women who, for these reasons, never even have a chance to dream or forced to give up their dreams completely where they ever did. They marry early, bear many children, have extremely low literacy level, enjoy very limited nutrition, and become no more than domestic hands. In some cases, they are exposed to several other hazards, including trafficking. The paradox of the shining example of women in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, is that although the state has been in the throes of Boko Haram's 11-year campaign of terror, the violence by one of the world's deadliest terror group has not deterred the government of Professor Babagana Zulum to swim against the tide and fetch women their due. The governor's program for women and children is part of his 10-part agenda being executed through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. The Zulum administration has in the last 2 years continued to promote girl-child education and empowerment through skill acquisition and training for vulnerable women. The newly renovated Women Development Center in Maiduguri is a major statement of intent and the government's determination to train hundreds of women in the state. Most vulnerable women, including widows and orphans, are being trained in skills like tailoring, throw pillow designs, and others to make them self-sufficient.
This is our tailoring class, and you see how women are training. These women, some of them are widows, some are vulnerable. Though there are some girls, they are learning how to sew their clothes. With the end of the training, the military will empower them so to stand on their own, and they are supporting their families. They will come around 9 and they will close by 3 o'clock. Yes, from Monday to Friday. Yes, there are a lot of women. There are about 300 or 200 we have it, but they will come. We divided them into class. You know, we have first batch, second batch, third batch, like that. In the first batch, we have about 20 to 30 women. We train them for 3 months. Then after that, we'll call another batch to train. These skills, it can help them to their families. We have different type of skills. We have another class for throw pillow and bed sheets. Even now, we are planning for our another skill for saloon class. We have a saloon class too. Yes, and also we have a catering class. Yes, for cooking food, snacks. Yes.
Aisha Ali is a trainer at the center. She has been helping the government to train vulnerable women and girls in tailoring for more than 10 years. Aisha is excited to be part of the success stories of hundreds of women passing through this training facility.
I have been training people on part-time basis since 2007. I have trained about 3,000 women. I have a list of those I have trained. Some are married, while some are widows. They are enjoying the training. I have also derived a lot of benefits from the training. People should not joke with the workshop. I want to encourage women to be part of the training. After the training, some of them do get employment outside. Some remain here to work with us.
Other notable projects by the Zulum administration include renovation and modeling of the visually impaired workshop at Badum, Maiduguri, which has brought a new lease of life for such group of people. Renovation and remodeling of the Family Support Nursery and Primary School Maiduguri has also been completed. The school has been providing education for children who lost their parent due to the insurgency. Another project is the construction of additional hostels at the Fatima Sharif Orphanage for the comfort of the orphans. In continuation of its successful and sustainable livelihood for women and girls, the Borno State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, in collaboration with the United Nations Population Fund (UNFPA), constructed a befitting livelihood center which comprises skill acquisition departments. Here, women and girls are trained in various skills as well as serving as a shelter for survivors of gender-based violence. The center has become a point of reference for women empowerment and resilience for the teeming females in the state. The plight of the vulnerable is also central to the administration of Professor Babagana Zulum, with numerous projects designed to uplift their standards of living, especially women and children, as well as victims of insurgency. It's no doubt that the Borno State government has been investing massively in economic empowerment, touching the lives of vulnerable women and children in the society. Join me as I engage the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Zuwaira Gambo, on some of the activities of the ministry in the last 2 years. Welcome to Borno Restoration. As the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, talk us through the achievements of this ministry in the last 2 years.
Thank you very much. The Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development is one of the ministries that has benefited tremendously from the dynamic administration of Professor Babagana Zulum. He came with a 10-part agenda, and all the items on that agenda are very, very important to the well-being of women. Security, when you talk about security, especially in a state like Borno, where the insurgency has taken more than 70% of the lives of the citizenry. And women are the major victims because of their vulnerability when there's any civil upheaval or a terrible situation like insurgency. If you go to the IDP camps, you realize that most of the occupants are mostly women and children who have been displaced from their ancestral homes. The men may get killed or even taken away, but women are left to take care of the family. And so for the mere fact that security is the #1 agenda of this government, we are beneficiaries, because relatively from the insurgency, beginning of the insurgency to today, a lot of women have been affected, and whatever interventions that are being brought to the state, women benefit more than the men. When you come to education, for us in the Ministry of Women Affairs, the orphans are under our custody. And the Borno State Government, in collaboration with the Kano State Government, is presently training over 200 orphans who lost their parents as a result of the insurgency at the Mariri Orphanage School in Kano. We also have those of them that are found to be very intelligent. The government is training them in Sudan. This started long before this administration, but it is a program that has been sustained, and our girls are being trained to come back home as medical doctors and other science-related professionals. Again, the government today has constructed highly classical and well-equipped skills acquisition centers across the 3 senatorial zones. And again, the beneficiaries are our women. He has also constructed high Islamic schools in the 3 senatorial zones. All this to promote women education and to give them the wherewithal to become independent economically. Because again of our vulnerability and having been faced with the challenges of the insurgency, we have a lot of gender-based violence cases, because when you take somebody away from their home and they have to fend for themselves, even with support from government and other partners, the tendency is for them to be easily attacked and the rest of it. But for us in Borno State, because again, the government has the heart of a father towards its citizens, the women who are survivors of gender-based violence are being given very, very special care. In the last 2 years, we've had 2 celebrations each year for 16 days, where we organize programs to create awareness and demonstrate against gender-based violence, and to also empower the victims. The government provides wherewithal, where we train them in various skills, and at the end of the day, the first year, 2019, we were able to give 300 empowerment kits, which included sewing machines, cap making accessories, cosmetology kits to 300 women from 10 internally displaced people's camp. With these items, they have already been trained in these skills, and now they are doing very well because we have a template on ground where we monitor and evaluate their activities. And presently, a lot of them are also employers of labor. And because of that, this year we again did the same activity. We brought in other people who are trained as the trainers and giving again sewing machines, grinding machines, and all other economic empowerment kits to support them and to bring support to the trauma they have gone through as victims of gender-based violence. And we're not only empowered, we're ensuring that they get their rights as women, as daughters. This we do in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, with other government agencies, and our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, and other stakeholders. So the level of gender-based violence incidents in Borno has reduced drastically because all the stakeholders are keen into the initiative of His Excellency, and we ensure that at the end of the day, with the support of NBA, FIDA, and of course the Ministry of Justice, the victims are given justice, and where the culprits are taken to court and kept behind bars. We've had a series of convictions, and this has tremendously helped in reducing the incidence of gender-based violence.
So how sustainable is this program?
It is sustainable because we have a template on ground where we capture all the beneficiaries, and our monitor and evaluation team goes around to see how they are faring with updates. As I told you, for instance, the ones we empowered about 2 years ago, some of them now are employees of labor, and that is very encouraging because from maybe 300, you have maybe like 6 or even 900 that are doing very well. So that is what encourages His Excellency to support these interventions, not only within Maiduguri, Jeri, MMC, but it's also reaching out to other parts of the states. And you can see it was in Damboa, Chibok, Rosa, Askera, to distribute support, palliative. It's an everyday activity, and that is why when we have issues in other states that they did not see their palliatives, Borno State, even before it arrived, we have a template on ground that anything that is given is shared to the people judiciously. I think you are very much aware of that. We never had NSAS program riot in Borno State, because even from the state government he is giving talk less of whatever support that comes. So the template on ground makes it sustainable, transparent, and accountable.
So we would like to know the challenges you faced in carrying out your job and then your plans ahead.
But for us, the challenges are more or less the need to create more awareness and sensitize the general public of the need to support the government in whatever the government is doing. For instance, the women are the most vulnerable. It should be a situation whereby every support should be given to these women. It doesn't have to be government. Rich individuals would come and identify vulnerable women in their communities. Build them. You don't have to know them. So leaving everything in the hands of government is a very big challenge, because there's much the government can do. We have very well-to-do individuals in Borno State, and even those not too wealthy. You can use your God-given knowledge. You can use the knowledge God has given you to go around the camps and talk to these women, counsel them. If you're a medical doctor, if you're a nurse, create the time, because that is what giving back to the society what you have gained. We cannot all wait and say it was a professional doctor that I employed by the government, or nurses that I employed by the government, or psychologists that I employed by the government to support our own. There are so many out there. You go to one camp, you see over 40,000 women and children. They need the love and care. They must also be able to support these vulnerable children. They are orphans. They didn't ask to be born in this kind of situation. So as individuals, we cannot and we should not leave everything in the hands of Professor Babagana.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much for your time on Borno Restoration. We've been speaking to the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Zoe Elegombo.
And that's our package on this edition of Borno Restoration. Thanks for being part of it. I'm Jessie Tafida. See you next time. Bye for now.